What you are about to read challenges the most basic assumptions you hold about reality, not as mythology, not as ancient superstition, but as a system still operating right now. A structure that predates recorded history and continues to shape human consciousness through mechanisms so normalized that they are almost invisible. This understanding does not come from a single text or belief system, but from patterns that emerge when you stop accepting official explanations and begin asking why certain questions are never meant to be asked. Across civilizations that never had contact with one another, Saturn appears again and again with the same symbols and meanings. Not vague similarities, but precise correspondences. The cube, the hexagon, rings, the color black, the number 6, time, restriction, harvest, limitation. In Sumer, Saturn was associated with boundaries and earthly order. In Greece, Kronos devoured his own children, a perfect metaphor for time consuming everything it creates. In Rome, Saturn presided over cycles of labor and harvest. In India, Shani governs karma, discipline, delay, and consequence. In Hebrew mysticism, Saturn corresponds to limitation and form, the force that gives structure to reality itself. These cultures did not independently invent the same complex symbolic system by chance. They were describing the same operational influence. Some suppressed traditions claim that Saturn's role was once even more direct. They describe a time before the current solar configuration, when Earth existed under Saturn's dominance, illuminated by a dim reddish-purple light. Humanity, according to these myths, lived without seasons, without linear time, in a dreamlike unified state of awareness. Then something changed. Saturn was displaced. The sun became dominant, and humanity fell into linear time, mortality, hierarchy, and survival. These myths do not describe this shift as natural. They describe it as an installation, a protocol, a system imposed. Gnostic texts speak of archons, artificial rulers of the material realm that feed on human energy. Sumerian tablets describe beings who alter humanity to serve as labor. Hindu traditions describe the Kali Yuga, an age of spiritual darkness and forgetting. The narrative is always the same. Humanity was changed. Something intervened. And the force associated with this intervention is consistently linked to Saturn, the lord of time, matter, and limitation. Civilization did not create Saturnian order. Civilization emerged because that order was activated. Modern science confirms something strange but refuses to interpret it. Saturn's North Pole contains a massive hexagonal structure, stable, precise, and persistent. It defies standard explanations. The hexagon is not just a shape. It is the geometric signature of material reality. 6 sides, 6 angles, the number of carbon, the foundation of organic life, the most efficient structure for packing matter. Nature uses it because it locks things into stable, repeatable patterns. If you wanted to impose a reality framework, a set of physical laws and perceptual boundaries, you would need a shape that reinforces itself, a carrier wave for structure. The hexagon does exactly that. Ancient mystery traditions understood that geometry is not descriptive but generative. Shapes shape consciousness. The hexagon crystallizes energy into matter. It turns potential into form. Saturn's hexagon does not drift or decay. It rotates with mathematical precision, as if broadcasting something. Not information, but structure itself. Now, consider the human brain. Psychology describes cognitive biases as evolutionary flaws. But what if they are not flaws? What if they are features? What if the brain is designed to prevent certain conclusions from ever being reached? Language itself imposes limits. All human languages presuppose separation, linear time, and individual identity. These are not neutral tools. They are perceptual frameworks. Linguists have shown that language shapes what can be perceived. But no one asks why all languages share the same deep assumptions. Esoteric traditions claim language was given, not invented, a control interface. Morality functions the same way. Across cultures, the same core rules appear. Obey authority. Respect hierarchy. Sacrifice the individual for the group. These are not universal because they are moral. They are universal because they are operational. They ensure self-regulation. The system does not need constant force when people internalize its rules. Freud called this the superego. Jung called it the shadow, an internal voice that polices thought and behavior. It sounds like you, but it is not you. It tells you what is realistic, responsible, acceptable. And every one of those judgments serves the same purpose: compliance. The Saturnian system does not require guards. It requires you to guard yourself. Now consider the clock. You believe it measures time. But what if it creates it? Before mechanical clocks, humans lived by natural rhythms. Time was experienced, not quantified. The clock transformed time into units. Commodities, something to be sold, wasted, saved. Time as money is not a metaphor. Empires appear to rise and fall, equation of the system, but their structure never changes. Central authority, taxation, law, standing armies, standardized currency, bureaucracy, different cultures, same design. Not because of imitation, but because the structure is embedded, activated when conditions allow. Debt is foundational. Before money, there was obligation. Someone decided you owed something, and civilization formed to enforce that claim. Spiritually, debt becomes karma, existence itself framed as something you must repay. Saturn ensures the accounting. Look around you. Almost every structure you inhabit is a cube or rectangle. Homes, offices, schools, banks, prisons, screens. The cube is Saturn's geometric signature. 6 faces, 12 edges, 8 corners. Time, space, structure. The black cube appears in religious artifacts, financial centers, corporate architecture. The Kaaba, tefillin, financial districts. Even digital interfaces are grids of illuminated cubes. Your screen is a pixelated matrix training your perception to accept reality as quantized, segmented, contained. Technology is not neutral. The more time spent in digital space, the more consciousness adapts to cubic logic. Information stored, categorized, framed. Identity reduced to data. Money becomes numbers. Relationships become messages. Memory becomes files. The migration into the digital cube is voluntary, convenient, addictive. Sacrifice never ended. It evolved. Instead of ritual slaughter, there is slow extraction. Time for money. Identity for security. Consciousness for comfort. Work does not just take your hours. It takes your sense of self. Education conditions obedience. Labels reduce infinite awareness into manageable categories. Every I am becomes a boundary. The system does not fear rebellion. It fears awareness. Because awareness cannot be forced to believe. The exit is not a door. It is disidentification. The realization that what you call yourself is a construct. Mystics call it no self. Not bliss, not salvation, but exile. You still exist in the system. You just see it. Some withdraw. Some resist. Some integrate. Playing the game without believing in it. None of these paths are comfortable. Awareness isolates. But it also dissolves the illusion of solidity. The structure remains, but becomes transparent. Still functional, no longer absolute. If you have read this far, the question is no longer whether the matrix exists. It is what you will do with the disturbance. Dismiss it, obsess over it, or hold it lightly as a lens, not a prison. The system survives through participation and belief is the only power it truly has. Look carefully at what you were taught not to see. The crack is already there.